build alignment amongst our leaders so that there was clarity and coherence throughout the system so that everyone knew exactly what we were referring to when we talked about culturally relevant and sustaining practices and what we actually went to see um, in the classroom based on the framework that we created. So we engaged in a process where we go visit classes and we practice and learn strategies and protocols for analyzing um, observational data through the lens of what was happening for our students. And you can see that we focused on African American, Latinx, English learners, and other underserved students, or students with disabilities. You can see, I think you can see on your screen the framework that we can use, and I'll skip through the graphics for time. But we narrowed our focus down to three different columns where we attempted again to I really identify what it is that we wanted to see in classrooms. So culture and community being one column, task and materials, ensuring that students had access to grade level content that was rigorous. And then finally, engagement and ownership. We wanted our students to be engaged and demonstrate ownership of their learning and have opportunities to collaborate one another using academic discourse. And so while the framework is important, I want to emphasize that the process of coming together was one of the most important parts of this. You can easily chat GPT something or magic AI and come up with a framework that identifies the areas of culturally responsive teaching. But it is important that you have the conversations with people and build that common and shared understanding with people so that everyone knows exactly what you mean when you are talking about it. And so you cannot replicate that by just going to chat gpt. There are some things that chat gpt won't be able to help us with, and that's this process and the conversation and the negotiating and all the building of common language and understanding that is needed to move a system forward and have it be transformative for students. So our problem of practice this year is really about sustainability. And we have some data. We've conducted some walkthroughs already. We have a goal of making sure that we visit all 13 sites in our district where we have representatives come together and go through this process, and that each individual site conducts a site-based walkthrough in the fall, in the spring. So we have district equity walkthroughs where we have a team that comes in from the outside, and then site-based walkthroughs where instructional leadership teams and the principals guide that work for each individual site. So we've gathered some data, and the data indicates that we need more emphasis on providing scholars with opportunities to engage in academic discourse. So, for example, students were listening and the teachers were doing all the talking. So, how do we create structures where the students are engaged in the cognitive, in the thinking, in the critical thinking, and the teachers are more facilitators of the learning? And then we need to continue to increase or provide more culturally responsive curriculum and instruction. So that emphasis on first best instruction with the lens of cultural responsiveness. The data is still indicating that although we are visiting classes and providing professional development. So our next steps continue to provide professional development. We had one session last Monday, and we have another one January 6th, where we'll continue to introduce strategies, continue to work with our teaching staff to, again, support more academic discourse. And three, continue to implement tier one restorative practices to increase a sense of belonging and care for African American students. So this is all a part of our continuous improvement journey. We have seen some data that has helped us develop more confidence in the work and the path that we are going, such as a decrease in our suspension rates at several of our schools. And then we also saw some slight improvements on our CAS scores, where our African American students increased by 4.64% in ELA, and